Hi, Owen Feely here. This week I'm just going to do a short, quick video presentation on goal setting. So there's plenty of members in the group that are struggling with a bit of goal setting at the minute just because of the current climate that we're in. Obviously with restrictions up and down the country, everyone's kind of looking for clarity amongst will we be getting restrictions or how can they best plan for November, October, even September when they don't know what's around the corner. Now, just to deal with a little bit of uncertainty, all we can do is control our controllables and focus on ourselves anyway, with or without COVID. But what I wanted to do today, instead of spending too much time actually talking about and explaining goal setting and clarity, I wanted to give a short, quick tool that you can apply to your life and see does it bring a bit of clarity that way. So with goal setting, something I always encourage is long-term, medium-term and short-term goals. Your long-term, your medium-term and your short-term, that term of time is dictated by you. Everyone has a different long term. Some people's long term can be 5 years, some people's long term can be 12 months. So it's up to yourself to find your own sweet spot with this. But something that I always encourage is something that people always miss is when you establish a short term goal working through here, but then we need to establish a long term, medium term, and short term of just the short term, the here and now. Because we can only focus on so much and it should be to the here and now and what we're trying to control. So just dealing with this, if you're struggling with the long term, medium term, or short term, break up just your short term right now to try to gain a bit of clarity through that way. Because at the minute, we all do have a bit of a brain fog going on because of the uncertainty and the lack of clarity. So what we're trying to do is control our controllables to give ourselves clarity. If we get clarity, we have a sense of control. If we have a sense of control, we lower our anxiety. If we lower our anxiety, we can progress through and get less distracted by our own thoughts. So what I advise you to do, and what I've broken out is just September, October and November. Get the pen and paper, put the power in the pen. And what you're going to do is, with September we got 4 weeks. In October we have 5 weeks. There's a break here, I'll explain that later. And we have 4 weeks into November. Now I'm just focusing on this. If you really need to start small, break it back up and make September bigger. What are you trying to achieve in September? But this is, I'm just trying to give a bit of rarity to give a tool that best suits you. So with this, we've got September, week 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now what's very, very important is when we're dealing with the short term is what I've circled here, September, October and November. What are you trying to achieve each month? And this is where you need to decide. Do you need to go to November because you can kind of push out a little bit and this is what you're trying to achieve by the end of the year? Your own personal development, your own personal growth, your business development, your business growth, your relationship networking through family, friends, or through professional outlets. But we need to identify what are we trying to achieve. Could be a case of let's start with September. When we get to September, we'll know better about October. When we complete October, we know better about November. Some people work better going here, going to the long range and coming back to the short range, and the middle fills itself. But what we're trying to do is sometimes we get a bit hard on ourselves wondering about what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, and what is successful and what isn't successful. But there is no measuring tool when you're just focusing on yourself because you're looking on growth and development and just improving that 1%. That's it. Your 1% is different to other people's 1% because your starting point is different to everyone's starting point. Even if it's in the same office or the same house, you are you and you got your own starting point. So with September, you write in your goal. And then we break down the 4 weeks. What are you looking to achieve in week 1, 2, 3 and 4? How at the end of week 1 this week do you know you've had a productive week? If your answer is I don't know, well your problem isn't goal setting. It's a problem of just not actually delving into yourself and understanding what you're trying to achieve. That's ambition for me. So if you're blaming everything else and saying, oh, it's COVID, I can't get my head right, but you can't identify what you understand to be a successful week. So if you don't know what a successful week looks like, don't give yourself a hard time about knowing what the rest of the year is meant to look like in regards to success because you don't even know what a successful week looks like. And this is very important because this does bring clarity. Because if you break up our weeks here and we see week 4, 3, 2 and 1, when we break up the weeks, you might actually see that I have X on already here. So there's something on already here, so I lose a couple of days. I have this on day 2 in week 2. I have this on for the last 2 days of week 3. So how many full weeks do we have? But what we're looking to do is, you can go here, and then we need to break up our week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because 1, 2, 3, and 4 stacked on top gives compound interest to achieve what we're trying to overall achieve for the month. So again, just to use terms of sporting terms, we're trying to achieve something by the end of this month, which could be progressing 2 cups and be in and around the top of the table. Well, in order to do that, we need to train X amount of times on the pitch, X amount of times in the gym, make sure our nutrition is good, win this week, win this week, win this week, compound interest to this week. And that's the same with any teams. Sporting teams, professional teams, even within a family, you've got a team. A team is a group of people. So what we're trying to do is identify here and then break down our weeks. Now, if we can say that we know our goal down here, but then we need to take a bigger view. What do we look for compound interest through the weeks? This is what I was saying about number 5. We got week 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 4. Week 5, use it as a review week. If you know where you're going from here down to here, this is going to give compound interest to this. This is going to give compound interest to this. This is your review to see, can you improve? Because this is something I don't like about goal setting. You set a goal here now to November, and you don't review that goal, that means you're not breaking through your ceiling. So you could set out a goal for here, you might be after achieving it here, or you might achieve it here. But how do we improve within this month? And continuously every week we review to see, can we push it out an extra bit? Because when we make goals here with lack of clarity and a lack of confidence, we can undersell ourselves. So this is why I always say goals is continuum. A lot of things with your own personal development is a continuum. There is no end point. So what you're looking to do is use this as a review week to see, can you improve? Now again, if you know what your goal is down here, we need to work backwards. If you're lacking clarity here, start with the short term, know what the overall goal is, and chunk it down into a week on week. Compound interest to give us to this. This will identify October. Then you break out into October. And by putting all this out, this is gaining huge clarity for you, because between meetings, you could have events on, you could have college education going on through your own professional development, where you can see a lot of weeks, like, you know, a lot of people deal with end of months. So end of months, you know, that week is going to be more stacked than this week. So you need to identify where you can lift up the throttle and bring it back down a bit. But we have to gain clarity through it. When we break down through here, you don't set up January 2021 on January 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th. You do it at least, or at most, on December 1st. Because we're after breaking up into our 3 months now. Now we're going into December. We know we're going to lose a lot of days in December, regardless of the restrictions and the COVID and everything else that's going on. We know the Christmas parties start mid-December. We know we lose the week. This week, I believe Christmas Eve is the Thursday, Christmas Day is the Friday, or in and around that. So that week's a write-off. The following week's obviously a write-off, we're all on holidays. So you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks at Christmas, or through December. What can we achieve? We can achieve setting up 2021. So when we get to December, you ask yourself, what went well previous? What were your biggest wins? What was the biggest achievement through the last number of weeks? And what didn't work well? Now, there's a bit of a misconception in the professional world about mindset and being positive and being negative. Growth mindset, being growth mindset or a fixed mindset. But being positive doesn't mean you can't be a realist. You do have to weigh up pros and cons of everything. So what I call this is the F and the A. So what went well? What were your biggest wins? But you need to identify, if you're in charge of a sports team, you want to identify what didn't go well at the weekend, even though you won, so you can improve the following week and win again. And that's a continuum in your growth again, whether it be with a sporting team, professional team, or any form of team or group of people, anywhere. So what you're trying to do with what went well, your biggest wins, you become aware of it and you focus on it. What didn't work well is you're aware of it. Then when we come into January, you focus on the F. So you gain your awareness to all three, but your focus solely goes to what went well and your biggest wins. This is just something to be aware of. You don't want to dwell on it, bog you down, and make you lack even more confidence because your focus is now going to the negative. So to remain positive, you put your focus to this, you become aware of this. You always want to take an overview of everything. What went well, what didn't go well, what can I improve, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, through everything. And then when we're coming into January, we can hit the ground running by what do I need to stop doing, what do I need to start doing, and what do I need to continue doing? Because the continue doing is something that people always forget about. What got you here won't get you there, from the great book. But what got you here doesn't mean that you stop doing it. So what got you here, what you continue to do. Some of the stuff you might have to stop doing, some other stuff you might have to start doing, but don't ever forget about what gets you results in anything. Because there's plenty out there that does get you results that you need to focus on to continue doing. Some stuff you need to stop doing, and some stuff you need to start doing. Then you get your clarity and you break out your January, your February and your March. Dealing with the long term, short term, they could be breaking out to 12 months and breaking it back in again. But I'd always be focusing on when you identify your long term, your medium term and your short term, go from your short term and break that into long term, medium term and short term to bring it back into the focus of the day and the week to achieve your overall result. Because remember, taking a season in a sporting calendar again, you don't lift the cup by just getting to a cup final. You lift the cup by starting right here. What do we need to do? We need to go training. We train again. We need to do this on the outside. We need to communicate this. This is going to stack up to a game at the weekend. You review, you focus, and you keep building and compound interest through the weeks, through the months, will then get you to a cup final to then have the right to contest the final and lift the trophy. And again, that just transfers right back into the professional world of what you're trying to do. Doesn't happen like this. Starts with the basics, never forget them, and you build, you review, and you constantly grow through the continuum of growth. So that's just a simple little tool to bring a bit of clarity and awareness to. And again, get the pen out, use the paper, and transfer all that energy and focus on the positive, and hopefully then you can achieve some goals before the end of the year. Thanks very much. Take care.